There is one group of individuals that we have only briefly touched on in our discussions for Marvel, and they are the Illuminati, a secret society of the good of the Marvel Universe, and their purpose is to make those calls and decisions that need to be made sometimes. They make the tough calls. They decide the fate of the universe. But what do you do when the men who make the decisions start to make poor decisions? Namor just used a world killer to destroy an entire planet. But how did we get here? Things begin in Wakanda, where T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, is looking into the stars, only to see an entire Earth looming over his head. And standing in front of him is some random people that he doesn't recognize, speaking a language that he doesn't recognize. These aliens to our world, they appear holding a device. Black Panther just looks at them confused. After some brief introductions, the woman walking over explains that her name is Black Swan, and she is here to kill a world. You see, the Earths in the multiverse are colliding together, and the only fix that her people have been able to come up with is to destroy one of the worlds to save the other. And with that, she pulls out a bomb meant to blow up one of the Earths, and Black Panther sucker punches her in the jaw. As she falls to the ground, the world-killing beam hits the skyline, and it destroys the very world from which she came from. The King of Wakanda makes a call for help, and he says a prayer. Goddess, oh goddess, save me from what this world demands. Save me from the righteous men. Save me from the thinkers. Save me from the summoners. Save me from the midnight kinds and the devil himself. Oh goddess, save me from what we were about to do. Black Swan was placed into a glass prison where Reed begins to question her. And when he asks her simply, why would you destroy your own homeworld? With tears in her eyes, she implies that she just couldn't take it anymore. It was for mercy. Reed Richards calls the Illuminati together. Namor, King of Atlantis, Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, Tony Stark, one of the most intelligent individuals in the universe, and Iron Man. Captain America, leader of the Avengers, and driven by a moral compass. Black Bolt, King of the Inhumans, and they are also joined by Black Panther, the man who called them to this site. The world is coming to an unnatural end, and Reed will not let this happen. He explains that in this multiverse, each timeline has its own world. These worlds are all constantly getting created, and for some reason, one of these Earths in this timeline has had an early collapse. No one knows what it is or what destroyed it earlier than intended, but this created a timeline contradiction which pushed two of the Earths together, causing two more universes to collapse. This, of course, created more timeline contradictions and more worlds colliding. In every instance, when two worlds collide, they destroy the entire universe that they are connected to. Reed shows the group the device that Black Swan used, stating that it will destroy an entire planet and therefore allow the Illuminati to choose which Earth lives. Captain America jumps up right there. We'll assemble our teams. We'll pull a plan together. We'll win like we always do. It's a simple answer. But Reed replies with, it's not that simple. There are constants and rules to this. When two worlds collide, it's called an incursion. And just before they collide, both Earths will exist in the same space. This is something that the Illuminati can detect, and each time that this happens, they'll have 8 hours before the planets collide. When this happens, if neither Earth does anything, both will be destroyed. Or one can be destroyed, sparing the other world. This is what Black Swan did. She spared 616. And he then states that another incursion is happening, and the Illuminati has 8 hours to figure out how to stop this from happening again. But Captain America stands in front of the group, and he states that he refuses to entertain the idea of them killing an entire world. Not when they have another answer. They can rebuild the Infinity Gauntlet and use it to get rid of these incursions. This group has actually been safekeeping the Infinity Gems, and they agree to go looking for the 6th gem that they're missing, the one whose location was lost when Cyclops killed Professor Xavier, who at the time was the last member of the Illuminati. But once they all step away, T'Challa asks Reed, what do they do if they fail this plan? And Reed replies with, we learn how to destroy a world. As he remembers Black Swan's final words to him that he hasn't told the rest of the group. You have no idea what's coming. It will break your hope. It'll crush what makes you decent, and it will destroy what little honor you have left. The Illuminati moves quickly, and it's discovered that Beast is now the holder of the Mind Gem since Professor X is gone. With him now on the group, they assemble, and they wait for the end of the world to come to them as they pray that Captain America's plan will work. And the end of the world does come eventually. And so they assemble the Infinity Gauntlet because the gems just want to be near each other. They want to be a part of something. And the Gauntlet is the easiest thing for them to make. And then the Illuminati makes the decision that Captain America will wield the Gauntlet, since it acts on the will of the user, and this was the Captain's plan. Plus, he has the strongest will to achieve this goal. Well, he puts it on, and it's so much power. Captain America can now see time, space, he can see the power of the heavens, and he can control the earth. The mightiest Avenger of them all literally uses this newfound power to try and push a planet away from his own. And he actually does it. But in the last second, something goes wrong. He pushes just a little too hard. He pushes the planet away with the full force of the Infinity Gems. They all shatter. All of them except for the Time Gem breaks, and the Time Gem vanishes. Captain America did it. He pushed the other world away. But there's no more Infinity Gauntlet, and now they have no way to push back the other worlds. The entire group re-meets in Wakanda, and Captain America enters the meeting place of the Illuminati, and he tells them he's sorry, but they need to come up with another answer. And the Illuminati looks at him questioningly. He tells them, I know each of you, and when you can't come up with an answer, you'll start to build weapons of destruction, and eventually you will destroy the other worlds. This is the line that we can't cross. But as times get more and more desperate, you'll all start to convince yourselves that this is the right thing to do. And you need to avoid that. Iron Man stands up, and on his face you can see the defeat. Damn it, Steve. I'll make this up to you one day. And Stephen Strange zaps Captain America's mind, wiping the events that have just happened entirely from his memory, and leaving the Illuminati to their own devices. Captain America is returned to the Avengers, where he doesn't remember any of this, and he continues to lead the Avengers. But for the Illuminati, things would get progressively worse for what was once the heroes of the Marvel Universe. Without the moral compass of Captain America to keep them on track, they all started to work on their world-killing machines. But these were still their last-ditch efforts. They were still planning on finding an answer. And for the next few worlds, the answers were easy on their conscience. The first world was already being devoured by Galactus, and while they pretended like they wanted to save it at first, they let it die. The second world was already dead, and it was there that they learned of a new enemy, the Map Makers, who devour worlds and move to the new one at the point of incursion. Black Swan explained that these are the parasites of the multiverse, and since the world contained no living being at this point, it was real easy for the Illuminati to destroy. The third world incursion happened during the invasion from Thanos, and when the Avengers were actually off-world dealing with the Builders during the Infinity event. The Illuminati were invited to the ship of the Builders from a foreign world at the point of incursion, where these Builders explained what their plan to handle the incursions were. They decided that they were going to destroy all of the Earths, as the Earth was the focal point of these incursions, and if all of the Earths were gone, then the universes wouldn't collapse. But the Avengers of Earth 616 stopped the Builders, and the Builders of this foreign world cannot pass through the incursion point, meaning that the entire plane is ruined because the Earth 616 Earth is still there. So these Builders kick the Illuminati out of their universe, and they ask Reed, do you possess the ability to destroy your own world? And Reed replies with, yes, we do. Then the third world was destroyed, preventing the Illuminati from having to cross that line once again. But the men who were once our heroes, they do begin to cross that line, and they mentally prepare for what must happen eventually. Stephen Strange is the first man to really go over the line as he sells his soul for ultimate power. Reed and Iron Man begin to watch through a viewing device as their counterparts fail countless times in other dimensions. And Black Swan explains to the Illuminati, it's going to be inevitable. The worlds are dying due to a being known as Rabum Alala. He's devouring, and he's the ultimate evil of the multiverse. But they shrug off this as a crazy religious statement from Black Swan. And with that, they continue to watch their own counterparts fail. Or they watch their own counterparts not even try to save their own worlds. Eventually, the fourth incursion happens. And this is the one where our heroes are finally going to step over that line. The fourth world contains superheroes. Different superheroes, versions of what one would call a League of Justice perhaps. After a few words of possible peace are exchanged, both sides realize that there's no fix to this. It's time for one side to kill the other's world. And with that, Namor begins the fight by stating if he must become this, it'll be at a time of his choosing. And both sides go at it. It would appear as though the former heroes of 616 are actually losing though, as the hero known as Sun God is full of godlike powers. Strength, speed, flight, heat vision, you name it, and this hero of this other world has it. And he even defeats the Hulk, and he begins to dismantle the Illuminati. There's only one recourse, and Doctor Strange sees it. He will use the power that he was given for selling his soul. He will swallow the life force of this league. He will then swallow the entire life force of this entire planet. His sacrifice of his soul will not go in vain. Except, it will. The rest of the Illuminati has no idea what's going on, and out of fear, they shoot and stop Strange's summon. The enemy is now dead, and once Strange awakens from being knocked out, he curses the rest of the Illuminati for making his sacrifice so worthless. We now stand where we stood at the beginning of our story. We have 10 minutes until the incursion closes both worlds. And we have our former heroes standing here, trying to decide if they should ignite this bomb and destroy the other Earth. But they can't. Reed is the smartest man ever, and he has saved countless lives, countless people. How can he kill an entire planet? Black Panther is a man who rules a nation and protects the lives of innocents every day with his life. How can he do this? Doctor Strange is a man who is supposed to protect us from the supernatural evils, and now he's a man who has sold his own soul. Iron Man is supposed to be researching the betterment of mankind, and even though he has supposedly given up on the arm race, how could he build this bomb? Black Bolt stands for the good and the righteous that is in the Inhumans and how they can bring it out in the rest of the people in the universe. How can he destroy an entire planet of innocent people? But Namor, he was always on that line. And he's decided to step over and he blows up an entire planet to save his world, to save his people of Atlantis. None of the other members can believe what has finally happened. They crossed that line. Their group did it. They destroyed a planet. But what now? Because there's another incursion on its way as we speak. Well, this time, the Illuminati has decided not to do anything. They don't want to live with the guilt of what they've done, and they've decided to let the next one just happen. No one can even fathom what Namor has just done. Never mind do it again. And they do just that. Everyone says their piece to their families and their friends. And some finally just read that book that they've been meaning to forever. They all sit there and wait for their lives to end with the entire universe. And nothing happens. How could nothing happen? What about the incursion? That's because Namor has enlisted the help of a new team, the Cabal, to help him kill these other worlds. He has accepted his role as the villain needed to save our world and to save our planet, and he will commit genocide on countless others with the Cabal's help. And folks, that's the end of our story. I know I try to end these on good notes, maybe leave a playful cliffhanger for you all to ponder, but our tale today actually concluded right there. A few things happened in the aftermath of this. Captain America eventually remembered what the Illuminati did because his memories were brought back by the original Sin event. And he now has the entire Avengers team on a manhunt for the members of the Illuminati, for the genocide that they caused on that other planet. And this has forced our heroes turned villains to go into hiding. The Cabal also continues to destroy worlds with no thought for any of those that they kill. And that's it. I can't give you a happy ending for this one because it doesn't have it. Our heroes have all turned into villains. They don't even want to live with themselves anymore. I'm Benny for Comicstorian, and I'll see you guys next time right here.